interview. We're at the Barrow Group, and we're here with
Lorrel Manning, playwright, writer, director, actor.
So we're going to start with something light. We want to know about you. So where did you get your start? When was your first theatrical sort of your moment?
I grew up in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and that's one I'll take, you know. So, and my plan was to become a musician. I was a percussionist, and I played all kinds of instruments growing up. And so, I think it was my sophomore year of high school, I needed an elective. So I thought I had this idea that I was going to be a jazz drummer, and then do art on the side and do paint. So I had this romantic idea of what my life was going to be, and I was a pretty good drummer. And I took an art class, but the only class that was available, the period that I had available, was an intermediate art class. It wasn't the beginning art class. And so I talked my way into the intermediate class. And soon discovered within 2 weeks that I had no talent. And for that. So the teacher pulled me aside one day and she said, hey, I don't think this class is right for you. Maybe next semester take a beginner class, and I needed an elective. So then I went to the chorus, and I couldn't really sing. I later discovered that I could sing, but not at that time. They had no room for me. I didn't want to do shop or home ec or any of that stuff. That's what we had at the time. And so someone told me they were looking for men or males for the drama department. So I went in, I didn't have to audition or anything. They said, you can come in. So I took a class. I took the class, and I started acting. I really liked it. And then I started writing. And I didn't like the plays we were given to write. So I said, I'm going to try my best at writing a play. So I did, and it was pretty decent, and it went on to win a statewide competition. So then I said, I guess I can do this. So, and the first piece I did there on my own, I wrote, directed, and starred in it. And with me and another girl, because we were partnered up to create some project on our own. And so I said, I'll write something, and we'll both be in it. So I came up with an idea, and I wrote it, and it was called The Man in the Moon. And it was about a girl who used to talk to a guy, a man in the moon at night, and it was about her losing her virginity. Her boyfriend was pressuring her to have sex, and she was in man in the moon. Told her, no, you should wait until you're ready. And so it was pretty controversial for that time. And so, yeah, that was my first project that I wrote. And so then I decided that I didn't want to do music. I put that on the back burner and decided to focus on theater or drama. And so writing and acting. So I applied for the University of Georgia, and I got in, and had a very fun time there. And then towards the end, I started getting more interested in film because I took a film class. I made a short film, and I really liked that. So I applied to several film schools and got into review, and then I decided to go to Columbia Film School. So that's where I got my MFA in film. But afterwards, I continued to do theater and film, which is what I do today. I write and direct for theater and film, and act as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just had a hand in everything then.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you still play any?
Yeah, I had a rock band for a while. We were called Lorrel, and we played around the city. Kind of popular, I guess. It was a trio, and we put out one record, I think. And we broke up a few years ago. So, I put music aside to focus on writing and directing, but I had gotten an inkling that I want to do it again. So I've been pulling out my guitar and writing stuff. So we'll see.
Dope.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we saw Awake.
We just played at the Barrow Group.
Yes.
Until February 8th.
Don't see it. It's good.
At the Barrow Group. Yeah.
We want to start with some sort of opening questions.
Sure.
For the show.
So, in the playbook, it said that your 10 vigilantes were a handful, or tell me about vigilantes.
Vignettes.
There you go. We're a handful. So, what other ideas did you have that didn't make the cut?
There's 9 in the show actually, and there were originally 10, and we cut one at the last minute because even we were casting for it and everything, and we decided that the show had been too long because the show right now is 2 hours, including a 15-minute intermission. I think keeping the audience past 2 hours of short pieces might be a little bit much, so we decided to cut it. It was the newest piece, and the show it covers a variety of topics that are currently dividing America. whether it be race, cover race from different angles, gun violence, police brutality, free speech, homophobia, immigration policy, and rights. And that's what we covered in the show. Some of the things that were left out of the show were dealing with gentrification, dealing with the drug laws. There's a play I left out dealing with a Me Too play. It takes a different angle on it. Those were some of the things that I left on the table. Also, pollution. That was a thing that was covered in the monologue that I wrote. So those are things. And my dream is for the show to be published, for these 9 pieces that make up the show now to be published, and then like the extra 6 pieces there, for future productions of the show. They could, I would write something and say, hey, this is the show. You could switch out these pieces for any of these pieces in the back of the book. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So that's the idea. So.
Like an anthology series.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that same section in the program, there's a quote that I like, when you say that you wanted to make this to sort of empower voices that weren't being heard.
Yeah.
Was there any, at any point in the writing process, was there any pushback from actors or collaborators saying that, you're going too far?
No, not at all.
Focusing on this, which should be more.
They were happy that someone was willing to take it on. You know what I mean? But I think more than anything, the actors were very helpful. I had a really great dramaturg by the name of Christine Serker, who's been by my side from day one since I decided since my second reading of this piece. First reading was in my apartment. I just called some friends together and we just read that stuff that I'd written. But the first official reading, she produced it, and she's been by my side ever since, and she's been great. No, the actors were all gung-ho. But I like to think of my work as a collaborative process. I mean, I create a blueprint and say, if you're acting in my show with me, I may say, I go through a lot of actors that I've auditioned, though if you get chosen, it means I've seen a lot of people and I think you guys are the ones for these parts. So that means I'm going to trust you a bit. I know that create an atmosphere that allows you to give me your opinions, your thoughts, or whatever. So with this particular piece, when we decided to go into production, I sat down with the actors. We had 2 weeks of it wasn't rehearsals, more like just sitting there and discussing the script. I wasn't giving them direction. They would once a week or something come in and read this new draft of the script, and they give me their feedback for half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour. And then I go back and write a new draft or whatever. And then when rehearsals officially began, they even gave me more feedback. And a lot of times I would listen to it, most of the time. And sometimes I wouldn't, because I would have an idea of what I wanted it to be.
Right.
But I like to look at it as a collaborative process, and so I would even sometimes turn to people on the crew and say, are you getting the story here? My stage manager or my lighting person and say, what are you guys getting? And I just go to them and then they would tell me. And when we got to certain stages of the production, just to get their feedback as well. But yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, it does.
It does,
yeah. Which also bridges to, which of the scenes was your favorite? Do you have one?
I don't have a favorite, really. I don't. They're all my, what you quote, babies, I guess. There were some that gave me more problems than others. in terms of trying to find the right tone. I would say the one that was most challenging to write, in terms of the story itself, was Carlos the Protector, which is deals with a male Latinx cop who recounts the story of him having to really, I don't want to give it away, but a difficult situation that has changed his life forever. And I had to realize, really, because I realized that I had this kind of thought about policemen, just because all the things I read in the news and seen in the media, so whenever I'd see one, I would just kind of, whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a Dunkin' Donuts across the street from me. Sometimes if I don't have my own coffee, I'll try to not buy coffee because I drink too much of it. So I'll say, I'm going to go across the street and buy a small cup of coffee this morning, and they will always be in there. And they're always very friendly, but I'll just go and look away. And so it was really hard for me to write that piece from their point of view. So I had to really think about the story. And the story that he tells is something from my own life. Just kind of like the kernel of it's from my own life. And we just went from there. And I had other policemen read it to make sure it was authentic, and that things would go down the way he said they went down, and all of them said absolutely. were you a cop? I'm like, no, that's the biggest compliment you can pay me. I said, no, I just, writing to me is like a spiritual process. It's spiritual. I feel like I'm sort of a vessel of some sort, and that it's coming from somewhere else. And I'm just lucky enough or fortunate enough to be able to tell these stories. So that was one of the more challenging pieces to write. And the other one was Flowers, which went through several incarnations. So I wrote several drafts of that, and it was different stories each time that she was telling. Sandra, the actress, was very, very patient with me because every few weeks she'd get a new monologue. And I'm like, well, I'm rewriting. This is what it is now. And so finally, I settled on something. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Yeah.
I will say though, as a viewer, Carlos the Protector and Flowers really did hit me in my own personal sort of view.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So yeah, I was kind of, oh man, now I'm sort of questioning my own thought process.
That's what it does. I want the show to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you
without preaching, I don't want to give so much.
It didn't talk at all very preaching.
Yeah.
Now to speak more about your directing habits.
Yeah.
I had a question about the play that you were directly in. The interview.
Mm-hmm.
When you play Brandon.
The minister or city councilman.
So man with quite a lot of power who's holding back sort of.
Yeah. Part of himself. Yeah.
Exactly. How did it feel to sort of be in that space, but also direct?
Okay, so I directed the show, right? But my dramaturg, Christine Serkert, in the program says additional direction. So I did not want to take on the task of directing myself. So she directed me in that. So I kind of gave up and just became the actor. And it was frustrating for her at first because I was a writer too, because I was sitting there not really acting. I was rewriting the script as I was giving lines, so it drove her crazy a little bit. But after a while, once we settled on what the script was going to be, I was able to step back and take the writer-director hat off and just put on the actor hat. So, she directed me in that. So that was her. I didn't direct myself. I would never do that.
No, that's kind of how's he doing that?
Some people can do it. I can't. I don't think I can do a lot, but I can't do that. Yeah.
Well, we from our research, we know that you have directed movies. So
I've done one feature and about 12 shorts.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, that's my big. Yeah.
Understanding that from your experience, would you ever decide to direct any of these short vignettes as a full length?
That has been brought up a lot. People want to see the show go on and have another life. I think maybe productions across the country would be ideal. And when people say I should make an anthology film series, and that would be interesting. Yeah, because I think my film background definitely informs my playwriting. It's hard to separate the two. It's very clean, if I say so myself. And I don't even know how I'm going to answer this question, but yeah, I've thought about it, but it's not on the front burner right now. I just know how it is to direct a film and raise money and just be a mammoth undertaking. Right. Now, if someone comes to a show, one of these last 7 shows, and says, "Hey, I'm going to give you X amount of money to make these," we'll do it. But I have some other, as far as film projects, I try to keep theater projects and the film projects separately. Stories come into my head, and they either come to me as a play or they come to me as a film. Or it's a short film or a feature film, or a short play or a full-length play. And that's just how they come into my brain. And so I have a series of film projects lined up that I want to do, a couple of shorts in the next year and a half, and like a feature film, my second feature film. And then I have a couple of long full-length play ideas which I'll develop as well. And then there's a documentary which I'm working on the side, so yeah.
That's great.
So I guess we'll go back to we talked about it. Okay. So with Hands, right?
Yeah.
We really liked Hands. I think was that our favorite, or was that just the most hard? It's between.
What did you like about it?
Okay. What we liked about Hands was that a lot of them, and I think you kind of joked about it with how there was like the radio show and the announcer was kind of like, "Man, that was heavy. All right, let's go to the next movie." Yeah. But so with Hands, that was like a genuinely heartwarming story that really reminded us of like when you go into like a bodega and see like the people you know. And so our question was that like, did you? I mean, I'm assuming you got that from like personal experience.
Yeah.
Like, did you know people like?
No, like I think I mentioned in answering to a previous question that I live across the street. I don't know where I live, but like across the street from a Dunkin' Donuts, and so it's mostly run by a lot of South Asian. I think it's a franchise maybe, and a lot of South Asian workers there. And when they first opened years ago, this was before gentrification started. And what I noticed was that a lot of people from the neighborhood would go in, and they were just so rude to them. And in the thing she says in the play, she says, "We were asked to speak English. Why can't you speak English?" They complain about everything or whatever. And I would see this, and it seemed like there was a lot of unneeded anger, you know, that was just off the bat. And I think it was people. I can't speak for everyone because we're not monolithic, you know. So I all I can surmise is that the people that would come in were just being dumped on by other people, so they're going to be dumped. They're going to dump on the people, new people in the block. So that's how I saw it. I could be completely wrong, and I saw a lot of it was unwarranted, and just the way they would yell and scream at them. I saw it so much, and I would just see it, and so then they would fight back. So when I started going, they were really nasty to me, and I was like, whoa. So they saw all of us the same, and over time I just kept going back. I was just super nice, super friendly, super nice, whatever, blah blah blah. And I noticed them change a bit. I don't know if it was when it all happened. Soon as people started to accept them a bit more, and they started to like call people by name. Oh, hey, Bruce, or whatever. These are people of color. And I just saw them soften a bit, and the guards were let down. And it was a beautiful thing. And so now when I go in there, they have my coffee ready before I can step up to the counter.
Wow.
Here you go, brother. And I'm like, is that right? I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I just saw that. So that inspired me to write that, because I saw, and that's something we don't discuss a lot of like, animosity that we have towards each other, you know, other people of color who may not be from this country or whatever. You see it between Africans and African Americans. I've seen it between African Americans and Indians, South Asian rather, or sometimes East Asian, and vice versa. Or you go to, I've seen it where I've gone to places and it may be run by someone who's Middle Eastern, and I'm getting followed around, you know what I mean? So we do it to each other, and it's, I wanted to explore that a bit, you know what I mean? So, just one little story, you know, and hopefully that people can see themselves in that or see that experience. I don't know what you got out of it, but I'm glad you liked it. So, that's where I was coming from. Like, you have a place where you're coming from as a writer, but then people may have a totally different experience.
Right.
In that.
I definitely got that.
Yeah.
You're trying to portray.
Yeah.
I live in Harlem.
Yeah.
And
so have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going, obviously, the neighborhood's been going through gentrification.
Oh, yeah, big time.
You can definitely see in certain scenarios, there's Dunkin' Donuts across my from where I live.
Yeah.
That definitely does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Almost the exact same situation you just explained.
Yeah.
So it's been great talking to you, but we got maybe one more.
Yeah, we got
sure.
time for questions.
What was your favorite part about working on a week?
Oh, God.
And a second question, just to wrap it up.
Yeah.
What would you tell other people, like us other aspiring writers, filmmakers?
Well, my favorite part was all of it.
That's fair.
Okay.
All of it, yeah, because I was very blessed with this production in that I was in every idea that I had in my head wound up on stage. You know, no one blocked me. Barry has been really supportive. I've been here for almost 20 years working as a student and a teacher and whatever, and so they just trusted me with this show. I mean, they come in and get me, and artistic directors come in and give notes and things like that, and I fought for some things, and I'm glad I did, and because it really helped make the show what it is. But I was given a lot there was very little pushback in terms of ideas, and so rarely can people say that, you know. So the whole experience has been fantastic for me, just giving me a huge boost of confidence in, you know, myself as a writer, director, and actor, producer even. So The other question was,
What would you tell them?
I would say, no matter what, stay true to yourself, because every story is different. Everyone has a story, and be as honest as you can in the storytelling. Don't chase this, don't chase that. Just be really, really true and honest. If someone tells you, oh, no one's going to buy this, or you feel it in your heart, really follow that. Because that inner voice is only going to get louder and louder and louder. And eventually, you'll prove them wrong. Yeah.
That's all advice.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Manning.
Thanks.
All right. This has been our interview with King Lorrel Manning. My name is Thomas Christopher.
And I'm Lindsey John.
Hey.
Until next time, East Broadway.